Hey, what up, boys? I hope you guys are all really excited for Scourge League. I know I am, and I have been working tirelessly to try to update all of my builds and see what still works and see what's broken, what's been buffed, what's been nerfed. And today I'm making this video to tell you guys about every build I've updated so far. I'm going to be adding some timestamps so you can just go to the build that you may be interested in seeing. Definitely check out the whole video, and if you like it at the end, be sure to subscribe. It is totally free to you, and you get to see whenever I make new videos. I hated that. So, the Arma Brand Occultist for 3.16. It turns out the masteries have made this build, I personally think, her damage hasn't changed, but she's better. Because one of the masteries gives you Holy Conquest, which is brands attached to a new enemy every time they activate, no more than once every 0.3 seconds. So we don't have to get that on a cluster anymore, which was the most important thing for my Arma Brand builds. And it's just here as a mastery. Also, we get 2 additional brands on this brand mastery. So the build is about the same damage. We did lose Transcendent Flesh because they took it they changed this area and it's no longer viable. However, we still have 420 crit multi, and we don't have to path over there anymore because Rune Binders moved. So it's actually turned out way better for us that they've moved Rune Binder. We don't have the Transcendent Flesh. They made the Ghost Reaver pathing a little more clean as well, which has been pretty nice. The leveling for this build should be, I believe, because of the brand masteries, a lot smoother. It's definitely a solid choice for starting out the league. I have all the pobes updated for league start, mid-range gear, and endgame gear, so you can check that out. All of the pobes for these are going to be at the bottom, as well as any updated pobe is going to be in my Discord. Now on to the Arma Brand Guardian. Now, my boy got a little injured on this one. So again, he can't use Transcendent Flesh either, but he always had slightly lower damage than the Occultist. He was more defensive than he was damaged. That was their main point of difference. And of course, one a long neck and one, you know, a solid witch. But what you can do is get yourself a triple crit multi-jewel. And I know it's expensive, but Transcendent Fleshes are kind of expensive as well. So that will absolutely replace the damage that you lost. And if you want to get crazy with it, you can get like an ES and triple crit multi-jewel and just like absolutely dunk on the Transcendent Flesh. Also, because the numbers are not finalized yet in Poe when it comes to the armors, he may not be as bad defensively as it looks initially. So right now it looks like he lost like 1,000 ES, and that's shocking. But with the way his ascendancy works, I don't think it's going to be that bad. We just need those final armor numbers, and then we can get a good idea of what his true loss is. So if you are interested in doing the Stormbrander, he is definitely still viable. As I said, he has slightly less damage, slightly less ES than the Occultist. However, he still has higher defense overall than the Occultist, like with EHP. So, and he's a really, really fun starter build because you get those early charges, and now again with the Holy Conquest change, you're just zooming. It's really comfortable. So this is a big one for a lot of people. I know it's a well-loved build. I love it a lot. With the updates that I've been seeing with it, it is so much. It is really, really nice now. So what I've done is I've completely cut off the left side of the tree here that I used to have. And instead I put in an Unnatural Instinct, and I paired that with a Pure Talent. So I can gain the Scion starter as well as the Ranger starter from the Pure Talent. And what that does is give us 18% all res, like 18% move speed, and a bunch of life. The damage went from about 5 million to 7 million. And now I've used Mage Bane. So what it does is give up our inherent evasion from dexterity, and in exchange we get spell suppression. And the new phase aggro turns that spell suppression back into spell dodge. So in the end, I have cap spell dodge. And the evasion rating, depending on if flasks are up or not, goes anywhere from 45 to 65%. So we gained quite a bit there, as well as 27% block. Overall, it's tankier than it was. It does more damage than it did last league. The new masteries for this build are absolutely disgusting. Like getting 2 life regen while moving. Guess what? You're fast. You move a lot. You're going to want to be slamming. It's good. 50 flat life on a build that doesn't have a crazy amount of life because it's missing 3 pieces of gear. You get to make up for the life. Like you can take a life hit and then make up for it later with this 50 and put on more damage. So it's like it's really, really good. Like the elemental damage wheel, for example, every note is 3% DPS and 5% all res, which is absolutely disgusting. And again, since we're missing so many pieces of gear, that all res is like a kind of a huge deal for us, because that is always the one downside with any Hollow Palmer, is trying to balance your res. But as you can see over here, we are definitely quite balanced. This is a solid league start. I'm currently working on the pobes for the starter, the mid-range gear, and the end game. So keep a look at that on the forums, as well as come to my Discord where all the pobes will stay updated. Okay. Next is Ground Slam. This is also a big... Oh, shit. Next is Ground Slam. Now, this one right here has went through some changes as well, and he is doing so much better. He hasn't been theory crafted to the same extent as Ice Crash, but I know we've gained a ton of damage. We have 6,100 life, which is insane for a Hollow Palmer. We have Fort, we have Overleach, we have a ton of armor. As you can see, we have 7,600 armor. Our damage went up pretty significantly. Before we were at about 4.5, and now we're at about 5.5 million. Not to mention that the new woke gems are not added into the pobe yet, so that damage is going to increase. The only annoying thing is now I have to path over here to get these impale nodes, whereas before they were clean and up here and it was nice and easy. But so this annoys me, but it's really not a big deal. It's just like kind of cringe, you know? It's just over here, not really, it's kind of cringe. But this build overall is fantastic. If you're thinking about doing Hollow Palm and you can't decide, like maybe you've played Ice Crash before, but you love the gem, or the jewel rather, then give the Ground Slam a try. He is stupid good. Hit the Leech Mastery, you can either get 250 Overleach or 200k damage. Like it's up to you, whichever one you want. I strongly recommend you guys give this guy a shot in 3.16. My Explosive Concoction, I thought when they got rid of Spell Dodge and Dodge... okay. My Explosive Concoction, when they got rid of Dodge, I thought, oof, we're going in the garbage with this one. It was fun while it lasted. However, I'm legitimately considering league starting either this or my Arma Brand Ignite Prolift build, because the Explosive Concoction became very interesting. We don't have the final gem numbers again and the final gear numbers, but I do believe that I'll be able to hit max spell suppression, and we have really easy access to it on the tree because we path right near all of it. So I don't think it's going to be that much of an issue for us. losing all that 55% dodge and gaining back all the spell suppression. We also have easier access to flash charge generation, not only and higher values on belts and enkindling orbs, which can give us like 40% flash charge generation, which will make bossing feel a lot better. But the biggest thing about this, and the number one thing, is that new belt, Mage Blood, because this belt is perfect for this build. Since Explosive Concoction, you don't use your flask. The concoction consumes it, but you yourself are not using it. So this would be like the number one no-brainer belt to try to get on, and I need it. I need it. Basically, I need it. The build should be absolutely nutty if you get one. Before we used to take Wind Dancer, and I'm gonna tell you guys, Wind Dancer, in my opinion, big debate now. All right, any build that I had that took Wind Dancer, it's gone because you take more damage, and like I don't need a tiny abyssus on. You know what I mean? Like I'm good. So unless like you have a way to mitigate that more damage, generally I took out Wind Dancer in all my builds. The masteries here are insanely strong. We get to put on precision easy, so we don't have to worry anymore about trying to make sure that we have max accuracy. We get the spell suppression mastery over here. We gain a flash charge every 3 seconds, and with the flask finder ascendancy, we gain 3 every 3 seconds. So now it's actually 4 every 3 seconds, which should again help us with boss sustain, which is the one area that's always been an issue for Explosive Concoction. Like, it's Deathless Maven doable, but you do lose your flask at the end. I'm hoping in 3.16 with these changes, I won't have that issue anymore. Also, just a quick little side note is the new Skin of the Lords. The new Skin of the Lords. Because this particular build scales the best on gem levels. The new Skin of the Lords with like whatever kind of keystone that you can get on it. Ooh, that should be nice. That should be really nice. So this is going to be a spicy one. I just know it. Now, my other league start potential is my Arma Brand Elementalist / Occultist. We start as an Elementalist, we end as an Occultist. Because this girl, I played her last league, she was great. People are like, Ignite's dead. Ignite injured, but, you know, hobbling, but not dead. Now, I think it's very much alive. So, ooh, brain freeze. So with the changes to Ignite, she got a big old buff. The numbers aren't in Pope, again, because the gems aren't changed yet. The Arma values aren't in there. But I know that it is a very strong and very fast league start. The Fire Mastery that you can get here is really nice because 20% fire damage over time is huge. And we have more than enough fire resist to compensate for the downside of it. We also gain a really decent amount of life. As you see, we're at 7,200 life with all these new life masteries that we have. My only real gripe with this entire build for both is that I have to go all the way down here for Unwavering Stance. Because unfortunately, they decided Unwavering Stance was better here than right here where Avatar of Fire is now. So until I can figure out how to get stun immune another way, I'm stuck with Unwavering Stance down there, and I'm trying to make myself feel better by grabbing this jewel socket, essentially, which is going to be nice. But, you know, it's if you guys have a better suggestion of how to get stun immunity, I would love to hear it, because those points could be better spent in other places, and it would be very, very good. Now, one of the great things, though, is that Arma Brand is one of the few skills that can still use Elemental Overload as a dot build, because it hits enough that you crit enough to take advantage of it, and I hit with the same damage as the Ignite and so on. So it's like, it still works out really well for me. And it is worth noting as well that they have repurposed Flame Surge to be an Ignite scale for boss damage. So hopefully that's going to be less tickle damage on bosses, and it's going to feel like, oh wow, I'm really melting him, right? Like exactly how you want an Ignite to feel. Before it took a little bit to kill Kosis, but now with Flame Surge, it's going to be much better. And the Witch has access to the Chieftain covered in ash when you get hit. So this again is another damage boost that you can grab for yourself. A couple leaks ago, I made an Occultist rebuild when it first came out, and it was really fun. And then the last league, it got nerfed, but now it's looking like she may be unnerfed, and I'm pretty excited about it. I seem to have a love for Elementalists and Occultists, so the initial version of this build is an Elementalist until you can properly swap over to Occultist. I have not updated the Elementalist version of the Pope yet, but I will get that out to you. The Occultist, again, just does more damage. We get quite a lot of value out of our new masteries here. For example, the 25% crit multi against unique enemies, which will make bossing really great. Now, one of the biggest ones, though, is this caster mastery. Skills supported by Unleash have +1 to maximum number of seals. That's huge. We use Unleash. We love Unleash. It's really, I've never had an additional seal to it. I know it's going to be pretty big. They also added some great life masteries for recovery rate, maximum life, reduced cost of life, or reduced life cost of skills. Sorry, I said that a little weird. That one is big considering we use our life to cast our skill. It's kind of massive. So she and the cold masteries work out really well for us as well. Reduced a crit I don't know what I'm saying. Crit masteries are pretty big for defenses. Like the 30% reduced extra damage from crit is a big deal, since we have to stand there for a moment and throw out our reef against bosses. That's going to be really nice. Spell damage per int, we have a really decent amount of int. That's just like a no-brainer that you want to go for. And this one. So at first I thought, Reap is dead. There's no way I'm going to be able to go all the way down here and get the stun immune that I used to go get before from going over here. Until I found the best mastery of all is this bad boy right here. The Resistance and Ailment Protection Mastery, which gives me essentially stun immunity. It is huge. Absolutely huge. It's a big deal. I highly recommend you guys look at this for stun immunity all the time, because I know I will. It's like, now I'm actually thinking about the other build. Like, I can't get it in, but I would like to. This is really huge, and has made pathing in this build so much better. If you guys liked Reap, the build is updated. Elementalist is going to be updated soon, and it's really good. I'm actually struggling to decide, out of all the builds that I've made over the past leagues, which ones will I give myself enough time to play this league, because of course Holopalms look amazing, the low life Stormbrands look amazing, the Reap looks amazing. Let me now segue into the Blade Blast Assassin, the Poet's Pen Cock. Now, this guy is a complete wild card. Let me just go and bring up his Poe right here. He is something else. As you can see, his damage is stupid. However, he also is going to be using the Squire. And currently, Pope can't calculate the Squire, so I've had to do a 6-link setup to see what the damage would be. This should be it on weapon 1 right here. And he is looking absolutely nutty. The changes in this build has made it, in my mind, look at how nice this Pobe is. Everything is so clean. Every point is so useful. He gets a good amount of life. He gets a solid. These physical masteries are absolutely huge for like the additional blade is going to be a big deal for the damage in this build and for bossing. I can see that for a fact. However, this build's going to cost because everybody wants to use the Squire, and I imagine it's going to be a bit pricey to get yourself a Squire on. But if you do get it, I would recommend it. Overwhelm, 15% physical damage reduction against bosses. Like this build should melt bosses now. If you wanna test out the wild card, the Pobe for this Poet's Pen Bladefall Blade Blast is updated and will be below, as well as permanently updated in the Discord. And last but not least, the Mjolnir, the Hammercock. Now, I don't actually have a lot to say about this build. I'm still working on the Pobe. It's a bit of a rough draft. I think he may end up with more ES than before, but the damage doesn't seem too bad. Let me just pull up his Pobe so you can see what I'm looking at here. All right, he's got some crit against shocked enemies. That's going to be really nice for him. These masteries are actually like overall pretty good because one of the things I heard from last league is that the boss damage felt a little slow, so these extra masteries for the crit against unique enemies should be pretty solid. But honestly, now I'm considering making a life version of the build. It just seems like perhaps with the way that the tree changed, life may be the call. So this is the current Pobe for it. I'm just saying it may end up changing. If you guys stuck around or watched any of these, I hope you enjoyed my updates. Again, all Pobes are going to be linked below, as well as the Discord, as well as the Twitch. And if you want to see gameplay videos of most of these builds, it is up on the YouTube. Just go back through my channel. They'll be there. Check them out. I hope you guys all have a great league start. Maybe I'll see you in my channel because I know I will be there. Thanks for watching this, guys. Enjoy Scourge.